Hello and welcome back to Kenny the Sports Guys podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Severa, and this is episode 2 of Bench Talk. Joining me today is Nathan Biddulph, owner and founder of Neuro Skills Coach, a company that provides professional athletes the essential neurocognitive skills necessary to succeed in the sport that they're in. Many athletes that Biddulph's coach includes Washington Nationals first baseman Josh Bell, New York Yankees starting pitcher Jameson, Taillion, NHL Defenseman Jake Bean, and others. Basically, in a nutshell, Biddulph basically unlocks the players' best versions of themselves. Please welcome to the show, Nathan Biddulph. Thank you for being on the show today, man.
Thanks for having me, Kenny. Appreciate it.
So my first question would have to be, how did Neuro Skills Coach get started? Care to provide like a backstory to it?
Wow. About 5 years ago, I'm an occupational therapist originally. So I heard that, Steph Curry and Tom Brady had been doing neuro for about 5 years. So now they've been doing it for 10 years. I read up on what they were doing, and it was a lot of virtual reality, a lot of lights and a lot of stuff that's damaging for the eyes, I think, in the long run, right? Now for football and basketball, they don't need the eagle eye vision as much as the baseball and hockey. So I developed a program that has no strain on the eyes. It's no virtual reality whatsoever. And I tested it on baseball players. 5 years ago, I was putting it together, and then I started with high school players, and it was working, and then college players, and it was spreading like wildfire because it works, right? So then minor leaguers were telling major leaguers, right? So it just kept spreading. It's been almost all word of mouth, and it's and well, I can tell you more about it, but yeah.
Oh, that sounds actually awesome. When you first contacted me, I was like very intrigued by the whole neuro thing. I don't know much about it, to be honest, but apparently you unlocked the best version of a player. So that's why we're doing this interview, because it's so intriguing to me.
Yeah, well, the brain controls everything you do.
Yeah, that's true.
If you can unlock the unlimited potential of the brain, I mean, there's so much that you can do better, right?
Yeah, it's like the movie Limitless,
Exactly.
Or the movie Lucy.
Yeah,
you can continue.
Oh, I was just gonna touch on that. I mean, players talk about that a lot. They're like, it's like Limitless, except you don't have to take a pill, right? It's just like, yeah, you just expand your brain and you can do all types of things. You can see patterns that you were never seeing before on the field or on the court. So it's huge. Yeah.
Going to my second question, what made you study the brain? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, I was an occupational therapist. I just went into that hoping to help people and change lives. And then my first job as an occupational therapist was in the neuro world. And I had actually had experience about 20 years ago was my first time working in the neuro world. And so it just kind of all went together. And I started directing the neuro divisions of companies, and I've just had a lot of different experiences with this, and knowing how to develop programs and how to help people with individualized stuff. And so it just came naturally when I realized that this was already getting big in sports, but in my opinion, in the wrong way. And I'm not trying to put down virtual reality. It can be effective. It's just I think if you really want to maximize your brain, you don't want to just limit it to just one thing. VR that might target just a few skills, right? Mm-hmm. My program targets all neuro skills. I mean, there are so many. I could probably list 40 right now that get targeted, and that's a lot different than VR, and it doesn't damage your eyes.
Oh, that's awesome. It has to be like all the synapses in your brain, right?
Yeah. The unlimited potential. So they say the amount of connections you can make in your brain is unlimited, right? Like it's like the stars in the sky, or it's like there's no limit to how much you can build your brain, which is incredible. It makes you realize, all records can be broken.
Oh, definitely. Like I always been a firm believer in using 100% your brain. I don't know if that's true or not, because there has been instances where people only use 10% of the brains while others use 100% of the brain. I
So,
I really don't know anything about that, but I feel like I only use 10% of my brain sometimes.
well, there's unlimited potential. So, I mean, I think we use all the areas of the brain, but it's like the amount of connections we can make. It's just because there's trillions and trillions of potential in there. So, I mean, in reality, I think like most of us don't even tap into a small percentage of what we could tap into if we really understood and utilized our full potential.
Going to my next question, actually, how will you describe your technique on unlocking the full potential of the brain or parts of it?
So my technique, obviously the drills are proprietary, but they what they do is they can do these drills from anywhere. And it depends if they're in season or off season. In season, guys doing this during the playoffs, in their hotel room, right? Usually they'll do it for about a half hour a day, 5 days a week. Off season, about an hour a day, 5 days a week. It's up to them. I mean, some, depends on how busy they are. Um, but the drills, like I said, they're proprietary, but there's all types, right? There's, I don't know if you could find it online. Steph Curry wearing these goggles and dribbling two types of balls and doing all this stuff. But those are those physical drills. We have paper and pencil drills, like things just to unlock your brain and understand patterns going on, understand spatial awareness, speed up your processing speed. So processing speed, I mean, that's going to be huge in any sport. In other words,
Agree.
if my brain goes faster, the game slows down. Everything's like it's in slow mo, right?
Mhm.
Also, if my brain's faster, I have faster mechanics. So, in other words, guys are upping their velo. So I have pitchers upping, they used to top out at 90, right? They do neuro, they don't change their physical program in any way, but they do neuro with me for a while, and now they're topping out at 97. So big change. It's probably the future of like the whole drive line, what they're trying to do. But because there's no injuries in my program, and they're raising their velo a ton and bat speed and all the metrics and running faster, things like that.
Oh, that actually sounds a lot incredible. So what does your clients think about your techniques about, the brain and how they respond to it?
Everyone's different. The ones that stick with it, obviously they responded really well and they love it and they got into it and they're just loving every moment. Others are just like, this is weird. And I was just talking to a guy who was like, at first I thought this was nuts, but then a month later, when my visual motor skills were, just incredible, then I bought in, right? So I think it's just and then there's people that don't give it that full month to see, and they think it's crazy right away, and then I never hear from them again. But usually, usually it's they'll see the results and they're bought in.
Well, honestly, I don't think it's crazy. I think a lot more people need it because it can unlock their full potential.
Right. And well, I think that they're just weirded out by the drills. I'm telling them to do some stuff that no one else is telling them to do, and they're like, oh, this feels weird, it's kind of weird, but it's a lot of fun once you get into it. It's just different, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I guess a lot of people are afraid of unlocking their abilities, their true abilities, from the
Yeah,
brain.
I guess so. Yeah.
Now, I'm a Yankee fan. And as you already know, Jameson Taillion is on the team already. And I noticed that he pitched extremely well this season. Like I've been doing a lot of research on him. Like during the first half of the season, he had an ERA of 4.90 in 17 starts. However, in the second half of the season, his ERA declined to 1.97 ERA, a 3.37 ERA decrease. I have to ask, was this your doing or this is just something pure talent?
So Taillion, he trained with me in the off season. So what happened was Taillion was coming off an injury, and when he started the season, he hadn't pitched for a long time,
Yeah.
and
It was
so he was just,
Tommy John surgeries.
yeah, and so he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. He was healthy in July. Now the end of the season, he got injured again, and
Mm-hmm.
he went through another surgery. When he was healthy in July, what happened in July, right? He was American League Pitcher of the Month.
Yeah.
So obviously, since Neuro, his spin rates have gone up. So his curveball spin went up, his fastball spin went up, batter's exit velo went down. So in other words, they were hitting worse against him. And when he was healthy, he was pitcher of the month. So it's just a matter of being healthy too. So I can't control that much. He didn't get injured from any of my drills.
Well, actually, damn, I was hoping like, with him, yeah, it would be you're doing that because he pitched extremely well before he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, in the spring training, he was pitching well too. Yeah, and that was right after working with me. So, yeah, his ERA in spring was like a 1, and as far as I remember, it was definitely under. It was sub 2, and he just got done training with me, and he was doing really well. But he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. So
yeah, I know. I've been following his career for like a long time now, and yeah, a lot of injuries, but he pitched well this season. I give him that.
Yeah.
So the next question I have is, do you plan on expanding to other sports leagues such as the National Football League or Major League Soccer?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's just getting the right connections, right? So with baseball and hockey, for some reason, it worked out. Like it was easy to make those connections, but hopefully someone's listening here that's like, I need to get him in touch with my guy, because in football and soccer and basketball, I mean, this could be huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now they're using VR. You don't have to see a tiny little puck or a tiny little baseball in those sports. But one thing I can say for my program is it's not just a few skills, right? Like VR targets just a few skills.
Yeah.
My program targets all neuro skills. So this could be huge for all of those sports as well. I think the reason I'm doing so well with hockey and baseball is because people understand, they want to protect their eyes, but it's really, my program's more about, uncovering the full potential of the brain in every area.
All right, enough with the whole neuro questions. It's time for some sports questions. So
cool.
What is your favorite sport?
Baseball.
Baseball? Oh, who is your favorite team in baseball?
So I was born in Philly in 76. And so I've always been loyal to that, even though I've moved around. Mm-hmm. And so just being loyal Phillies fan, but, my dad was born in Queens and he's a Yankees fan, and my brother's in Boston, he's a Red Sox fan. So, it's just.
That's quite a family right there.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously. Like,
well, at least Bryce Harper, he won the MVP last night, so he deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
So, who's your favorite player?
Well, right now, Josh Bell, because, I'm working with him, but, but yeah, as a Phillies fan, enjoy Bryce Harper, would love to work with him. So if you can get this video to him, tell him he needs to talk to me.
I got you. Last question. Do you have any projects or books or anything else you'd like to promote for your business?
Promoting books. No, I read a lot of books, but I don't know. I don't have anything to promote.
Well, except for your business, though.
What's that?
Except for your business, that's good.
Right. Oh, if I can promote anything, it's my website. It's neuroskillscoach.com. Mm-hmm. So all one word, neuroskillscoach.com. And then, on there, you can just click. There's a booking link. So if you want to get into my calendar, you can do that on there as well.
So if you're listening out there, if you want to unlock your full potential of your brain, contact this man. This man knows how to do it. So where can people find you on social media? This is the last question.
I'm on LinkedIn, Nathan Biddulph. Last name rhymes with Rudolph. That's how you pronounce it, Nathan Biddulph. And then, I'm just trying to think. I should really, get a Twitter, but I don't have, I'm not doing it right now.
Honestly, I don't think you should get a Twitter because that's just a war zone waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's all the questions I have to you today, Nathan.
Oh, one thing I should mention is beyond sports, I also work with actors. I work with executives. I work with students. So anyone that really wants to unlock their brain's potential, I can work with you.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Well, that's all the questions I have for today, and I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
No problem. So, well, this is the end of this episode. A big special thanks to Nathan Biddulph for being on the show. Again, head on over to his website, www.neuroskillscoach.com, to unlock the best version of yourself. Head on over to my website, kenthesportsguy.com, Ken with 2 N's, and you can find this episode on Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. You can also find a video version of this episode on Bench Talk on youtube.com. Just search Kenny the Sports Guys Podcast and you're there. Until the next episode, see ya, and I hope you stay safe and healthy. And